I haven't watched an All-Star game in years, and
and
I hadn't planned on watching it this year either. But you can
and
explain to me what's going on.
and I try not to as well. I mean, I'm one of many advocates who would say please do away with this farce because it's just, I mean, it's more for, they say more for kids, more for, it's more for advertisers and corporate things that they use that as a meeting place. And I get it, but honestly, I think it's lost its cachet. I mean, I remember watching it as a kid and watching the one in, I think it was 81 with Gordie Howe with Hartford and Gretzky, and
Hmm.
it was a spectacle, but it just really has lost its meaning. And now they have to get these, you get guys like Alex Ovechkin bailing out because he wants to rest and things of that nature, and there are players who are going to beg off because of injury. But the way it's set up here, 3-on-3 tournament and divisional, it allows only 11 players to be selected per division, and that, to my mind, is a travesty because that limits. I think it's two teams to two players max. So with the Leafs, Austin Matthews was the captain. They
Hmm.
chose John Tavares, which he's much deserving. And Morgan Riley is one of 8 players who could get voted in, but no Mitch Marner and no Frederick Anderson. And I just think it's a complete and utter farce. It's asinine the way that, like, you have to choose. I mean, if you look at the Atlantic Division, they had to choose Keith Yandel, who isn't even
Hmm.
the most valuable player on his team. Barkov is, but they couldn't choose Barkov because there were too many forwards. They couldn't choose Vasilevsky or Anderson because they had to pick somebody from the Detroit Red Wings and the Montreal Canadiens. It turned out to be Carey Price, who's been injured off and
Hmm.
on, and Jimmy Howard. Whereas Vasilevsky and Anderson are clearly the two best goalies in the division. I mean,
Hmm.
that's what I mean. It's you're not getting the best players. You're getting the players that fit into the construct of these all-star teams, and nobody really wants to watch
Mike,
this.
I think the thing is, you and I are getting old.
Yes.
If you look at, we are, um, you're much older than me, but I look much older than you, and that's the crazy thing about what's going on here. The fact that we still have any young followers is a miracle, and don't leave us, please. Um, Look, the millennials and the exennials love this kind of stuff. If you go on a timeline, everybody's putting up memes, pictures, and they're putting up the rosters and all kinds of stuff. Millennials love to pit, their favorite player against another. I put out a tweet a couple of months ago. I love Matt Sundin. He's my favorite Maple Leaf. And what do I get? 3 or 4 responses. Not as good as Austin Matthews. Where does that come from? And remember when the whole Nylander thing, of course, and the reason I go on about Nylander all the time is because I'm kind of sticking it to the data heads and the kids who had to bring up how Mitch Marner wasn't as good as William Nylander, and we clearly know the answer to that now. We knew it then, we know it now. It's it's what your favorite thing pitted against something else, and whether you like it or not, you have to build up what you like and tear down what you don't like, and that's the way this format is. Well, so and so makes it, someone else doesn't. Mitch Marner doesn't make it when he should clearly make it, but someone else makes it, and that's just the way it is. That's sort of how fandom goes nowadays. It's not this all encompassing. Well, we want to put together a mosaic. It's mine versus yours, and the kids love it, Mike. And while you and I would rather go back to the days of the Wales Conference versus the Campbell's Conference, that'd be fun. I'm not so sure a lot of the kids these days have any sense of nostalgia about that kind of stuff. I mean, everything past 5 years ago is ancient to them, and you know what? God bless them. They're the ones. I don't know how much money they have, but the NHL's banking on them as the demographic that's going to pay the freight. And if
Hmm.
that's the way, that's fine. And at the end of the day, all I give a damn about, considering this all-star thing is just kind of nonsense for me, is the Leafs winning the bloody cup. And
Right.
I still don't know if that's going to happen this year. I'm hoping it does, but there's a long way to go for that to come to fruition. Mike, final word to you, and then you got to go. I got to go. I got things to do.
Yeah, my suggestion just on that last subject is use the Winter Classic as the halfway break. Do all your all-star competitions, your fastest skater, fastest shooter at the Winter Classic. Have be an extra long break. So you encompass the break you get at the All-Star break, and so maybe have a week in between the Winter Classic or whatever, and have that at the unofficial or official halfway mark of the season, and do all your stuff that way. Don't bring everybody. Like next year, it's going to be in. I think next year it's going to be in St. Louis, and then like I mean, an old building, a franchise that's in trouble, and everybody's going to go there in late January. Yippity do. I mean, come on.